One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
One of a Kind with RVD is presented by Get Blitzed, and you can get 15% off your order when you head to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD. Get 15% off.
And, just through talking, it was really emotional for me. I didn't expect it, but I was he was asking me about when I had the double vision, and he was like, just how frustrating was it? Hey, this is Concussion Awareness Month, and yes, so I am hopefully after this, if you don't tire me out too much, I need to do some content. Some of the content is I got to do some videos for the Concussion Legacy Foundation.
Oh,
and this is something passed on through Chris Nowinski. It has a lot to do with bringing awareness to the foundation, but also to the helplines that they have that are available, and for anybody, but they're kind of targeting people that have head injury symptoms, that can lead to depression. I did a interview with not an interview, but I was talking with the guy to find out, what I should say in my video and what's the call to action, tell them to go to this number or whatever. And, just through talking, it was really emotional for me. I didn't expect it, but I was he was asking me about when I had the double vision, and he was like, just how frustrating was it? And when I put myself back there and explored that part of my brain and put myself back in November, December 2016, boom, out of nowhere, I'm bawling.
wow.
Whoa,
Yeah.
What was that from? And it was explaining how frustrating it was for me. And so obviously this is one of those things where I hope that by talking about it, some other people can relate and I could be helping them. But I had I've had many concussions. Almost all of them last a few seconds and then they shake off. Couple of them I'd still be a little sensitive to the light later on, maybe even in the morning, but not very often at all. And this one, I had double vision, and it just was not going away, and it threw me so far off of my game. I was so lost in life, and so it was weird, revisiting that time because I had been separated from the wife. I was still getting used to handling all the bills and stuff because she used to do all that, and I'm trying to learn to do all that, and then I'm told that I got to make all these appointments by somebody that's not a principal doctor, but somebody that said, hey, you know what, you got to make an appointment with and get your MRI, and you got to make an appointment to go see the neurologist, and you got to make an appointment to go to the vision therapist, and had all this going on. I was missing appointments, losing my own self-esteem during this time, and it was so frustrating. And I went to one eye doctor in Redondo Beach and got checked out, and this motherfucker said, oh, you don't have any brain problems. He said, it's just your prescription needs to be updated. Because how about that? I just saved you thousands of dollars. I'm like, this guy's a fucking idiot. There's no fucking way that I don't. I know what I'm going through. And he was just put these different glasses on me, and shit. And it was but anyway, so I had to know who to ignore and who to go to, and it was just so crazy for me. And the evil X saying, telling the lawyers that I'm faking it. Just so much going on right then, and this was during the rough time to all of 2016. It was pretty rough, but anyway. Some people might be dealing with this same issues or similar, or be able to relate at all and just feel overwhelmed. And the message is there is help, and you will get better. You just got to keep at it. The doctors couldn't tell me shit. I'm like, dude, am I always going to have this? I don't think so. What does that mean? Am I going to have this for weeks or months or years? Or I don't know. I felt like I was the first ever to have it because the studies were so new that I felt like I was just totally part of the experiment. And so anyway, you know, the symptoms hung out with me for the better part of 2 years. I didn't have like an exact finish line, so I can't say. I guess I got to go back and check records and find out like when I stopped vision therapy, but it may or may not have been also a bunch of stuff going on. I moved, but there was never a time where I was like, boom, okay, you're good to go. Although I did do my own testing with the eye doctors and, make sure that my reaction time and my vision, everything was normal for me, which means I got shitty vision anyway. I've worn glasses since I'm 2 years old. But, for anyone listening, it's a lot of work. But there's so much hype. Once the awareness for CTE is great, but at the same time, it got so overhyped. All my peers think that they have CTE. They think like, dude, come on, all of us have it, at least a little. There's a big difference between concussion symptoms, long-term symptoms even, and this actual disease. There's a big difference. So that's one thing that I was kind of forced to learn, and now I want to help tell everybody else because don't let fear keep you from being well. That's the thing, and that goes also with medication. A lot of times, people are depressed with or without head injuries, but that is a common pathology that leads in that direction. And I talked about that a little bit, and I feel like that's something I'd like to share too. We all have different brain chemistry, right? We all react different to everything. A hot girl walks by on the sidewalk. Some of us are just, oh my God, we're just like, we turn stupid. We're like overwhelmed. And then other people don't even notice. They're like, what? Man, I ain't got time for that. And anyway, all of that is chemical reaction to stimuli. And it goes way beyond that. Obviously, we all feel different about everything. But when it comes to medication, there's a stigma against it. And people that don't need help are the worst people to get advice from because they just don't fucking know. So, I've always said drugs in themselves are not bad. Abuse is bad. Drugs do wonderful things. They're made to extend your life and to combat illnesses. Even fentanyl, which is killing everybody, has a use. When you take an ambulance ride, they give you fentanyl, and my understanding is like 5 milligrams of it could be deadly. So it's something that's very, very strong. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't say, okay, yeah, if it was up to me, let's get rid of it all. But you can't do that. And like I said, it has its good places. All drugs do. When it comes to people being depressed, guess what? Some of our brains don't release enough of the serotonin, enough of the dopamine. It's that fucking simple sometimes. And you can take a pill, and it might take a long time to get the right medication, the right dosage. But for many of you, medication is the answer. And people that don't need it, they say, what do you want to get? You want to be on that the rest of your life? Why the fuck not if it makes your life better? That's the way I see it. And people say, what do you got to be down about? You just need to get outside and play more. They don't know what it's like to have that chemical imbalance. So I am telling you from me that don't let fear get in the way of you being well.
Absolutely. And with medication, like if you're new to it and you're apprehensive, it can be a little bit of trial and error of what works for you and what doesn't. It'll take a couple weeks for it to kick in, whatever it may be too, because your blood system has to get it all through it, and then it takes some time. It's whether you're doing with anti-anxiety or antidepressants and anything like that. There's a lot of things that go into play. So don't give up hope if you don't feel an immediate change or anything like that. It takes a little bit of a time and everything. So
I had somebody back like in 2015 or so, a friend of mine, tell me, stay away from that shit. My sister, this is him talking. Mm-hmm. He said, my sister took a Prozac and drank and then killed herself. And he said she never had any suicidal thoughts until she started taking the Prozac. There are stories like that, you know. That's why I always bring up, you know, hey, there was a guy that was allergic to peanuts, you know. That's not the majority. The majority of people that actually use drugs daily don't have any issues with dependency or addiction or any of that. So a lot of the stories that you hear, sure, that could happen. Is people sometimes have bad reactions to stuff. It's always some kind of predisposition, and it's not half. It's not a quarter. It's few and far in between. And if you just don't want to take the chance, then of course that's your right, you know. But just so you know, make sure you're not doing it for the right reason, not because of what somebody told you or what this 1 out of 2 million person did when they reacted to the same situation.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, just always feel free to communicate, whether it's with your therapist or your psychiatrist or psychologist or a loved one. Like, always just kind of keep open about communication when you start taking it, because yeah, you don't know. It's like, I was on Lexapro, the antidepressant, for a couple weeks, and I remember, like, it was kind of working for me, it's helping, but I also noticed it would shake a lot, like my, and that's part of one of the side effects that can go, and that can be something that's permanent too. So you always kind of want to be aware of, what's exactly going on, stuff like that. But yeah, always be open to communication. It is kind of unnerving when you first start taking it, because it's what Rob was saying. There's a misnomer or a thought about it. How an impression of medication and stuff like that. So, but kind of buck against the system a little bit, and definitely see what fits your needs the best, and always kind of be careful when you do it too. Always consult with somebody for sure. So, nice stuff, Rob. We're covering some good inspirational ground starting off, I think. Let's get a couple super chats in here.